Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back into the video today, and today we're going to be previewing the Game 5 of the Minnesota Timberwolves Golden State Warriors series back in Minnesota, where the Minnesota Timberwolves will try to close this series out. It should be a very interesting game tonight, and that's where we'll get into things of what happens in this game tonight. No Stephen Curry for this Warriors team again. He could come back for Game 6. It's likely if the Warriors win this game tonight, Curry will return for a home game, Game 6 Sunday night. The good thing that their game got pushed back. It was supposed to be a Saturday, got pushed back to Sunday because of something with the WNBA, and so Stephen Curry very well could return Game 6. Warriors have to win tonight, and it seems like they are lost without Stephen Curry to the point where I don't know if they can win tonight without him. Minnesota's injury report is clean. They do not have anything on the injury report. Golden State, their only injury is Stephen Curry. So, but, let's just get in right away with what the Warriors need to do tonight in order to win. It all starts with Jimmy Butler, I believe. Jimmy Butler, I don't know what I watched the other night. He just was not aggressive, and that's something you need from him. You need Jimmy Butler to be aggressive. I think it was something like 12, 13 field goal attempts he had in that game, and that's not something you need. You need more from Jimmy Butler, and I talked about this, and you saw it in Game 2 and Game 3. Game 2, they got blown out by Minnesota. It was bad, and I thought one of the reasons why they got blown out so badly against Minnesota in Game 2 was because of Jimmy Butler not being aggressive. He just wasn't aggressive. Game 2, there were 13 field goal attempts. And by the way, I was wrong. It was 9 field goal attempts last game. But just back to what I'm saying. There's 13 field goal attempts for Jimmy Butler in that Game 2 where they got blown out. Then let's go to Game 3. Then we see the aggressive Jimmy Butler, where Jimmy Butler's being aggressive again, taking shots. It's the Jimmy Butler you want to see, especially without Stephen Curry. Took 26 field goal attempts, and Jimmy scored a total of 33 points. And the game before had 17. That's the Jimmy Butler you want to see that's going to take near 25 shots a game. That's the Jimmy Butler you need if you want to win without Stephen Curry. And what did we see last game? 14 points, 9 field goal attempts. And it's another blowout. Jimmy's more aggressive. It's a closer game. The Warriors played it was a very close game in game 3 where Jimmy Butler's being aggressive, taking more shots, being the guy, the superstar you need him to be with no Steph. But you look at Game 2, Game 4, Game 2, Game 4, where Jimmy's not aggressive. I mean, he took 4 more field goal attempts in Game 3 than he did in Game 2 and 4 combined. So I think if Jimmy Butler, if you look at the last 3 games, the last 3 games that were you're fully without Stephen Curry, you've got to look at it this way. We've got a better chance to win when I am aggressive. When I am not aggressive and I try to pass the ball and be the facilitator, and I'm not taking enough shots, we get our butts kicked. So sure, they haven't won a game when Jimmy is being aggressive. There was only that one game, but the way I look at it is that the one game where he's being aggressive and taking shots 30 plus, they're closer in the game. They actually had a shot in that game. They tried to fight. They had a lead for a good chunk of that game and were competitive until Anthony Edwards went crazy. You look at the 2 games where Jimmy is not aggressive, it's a complete domination by Minnesota. So Jimmy Butler's got to be aggressive in this game tonight. That's the key one. I think there's other keys to this game for Golden State. You've got to see a great game for Brandon Podziemski. And if you just see the same thing from Jonathan Kuminga again, look, if Kuminga can do what he's done in the last 2 games, Podziemski can somehow get it going. And Jimmy Butler can find himself to be aggressive. Maybe he doesn't have to be as aggressive as he was in game in game 3, where he took 26 field goal attempts. But he's got to be way more aggressive than he was last game and way more aggressive than he was game 2. 13 field goal attempts in game 2, 9 in game 4. You need, I would say, at least 20. He doesn't have to get 26, but I think if you're the Warriors, Jimmy Butler, season on the line tonight, you've got to at least take 20 field goal attempts tonight in order to win. Maybe more than that. So, that's what I would say, and I think that I think it'll be interesting to see what this Minnesota Timberwolves team comes back with tonight, because Anthony Edwards has been great in the last 2 games. One thing I'll point out is the first 3 games of the series in the first half, Anthony Edwards had 16 points in those first halves. The other night, Anthony Edwards had 14 points in the second half. So that's something that I think really hurt Golden State, is Anthony Edwards not showing up in the first half of the first 3 games, and then you see Anthony Edwards kill you and dominate you in the first half of the game like he did in game 4. That's something I think Golden State's defense needs to try to get back to with Anthony Edwards, trying to get back to him playing poor basketball in the first half if you can. Obviously, I think Anthony Edwards is one of the best second-half players in this league. He's going to dominate you in the second half, regardless. But if you can, try to stop him in the first half and limit him to getting on fire until the second half, that's a way you can get a W if you're Golden State. So that's just things I'd look at. And stopping Julius Randle. But here's the thing. The Warriors have no size. It's hard to stop Julius Randle and Rudy Gobert and all these other guys they have. So, yeah. But, you guys give me your predictions in the game for the game tonight. I'm going with Minnesota to close the series out. I'd like to see Golden State win, because I'd like to see, a battle between Steph and Anthony Edwards, which we really haven't seen in this series. Steph went out early in game 1 in the second quarter. So as much as I want to see Minnesota win this series, I'd like to see Golden State win this game tonight potentially. As I'm saying that as a Warriors fan, as a Warriors hater, I'd like to see one more battle between those two guys, which we really haven't seen one fully battle. In the first half, you had Edwards, who didn't even score more than 1 point. Curry got injured. It would have been great to have Stephen Curry playing in these last 2 games where Anthony Edwards is just killing you, because Steph would have matched that energy, and that puts on a show for this league in the playoffs, having Edwards and Curry just going out there for a shootout. So, but at the same time, I think this series is over tonight, and Minnesota's going to their second straight conference finals, most likely waiting to face the Oklahoma City Thunder. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section, and peace out.